did you get a prenup when you got married?
No, and I
didn't.
I'll explain to you guys why. So I think, and I talked about this. I love the prenup conversation. I think it's important. There's three reasons why I didn't get a prenup. But the first reason is I actually believe prenups are good and bad. They're good because they protect you. They're bad because they don't protect you enough. What I personally believe is something which I did research about this called a marriage contract. You may not like this, but please give this to me. How many kids do you have?
3.
So let's say Allie married her man and she said she wanted 3 kids, right? Yeah. She gets married, she wants 3 kids. All of a sudden, prior to marriage, he agreed. She said, honey, I want 3 kids. Is that cool with you? He said, of course, baby, you want 3 kids. We're going to have 3 kids. She's married. 5 years into it, hey, when are we having our kid? Next year. When are we having our kid? Next year. It's year 8. He's like, I don't want any kids anymore. Should she stay in that marriage? He agreed, and she both agreed that we were gonna have 3 kids. That's why she married him. When it was time to have kids, he changed his mind. Well, I don't want kids anymore. Should she stay in that marriage? Let's go on the guy's side because the red pill guys love when guys are being the victim. So you're a man. And in your marriage, you agreed that we're gonna have sex, let's say twice a week. That's
an agreement.
I'm just saying
that's a verbal contract.
We're agreeing that we get in at least twice a week. All of a sudden, she's like, I'm not in the mood anymore. She's like, oh, now I'm on my period.
That won't be all of a sudden. That'd be almost immediate. But go ahead.
Okay, and then months into it, right?
Yeah.
She says, well, I only want to have sex once every 6 months. Should he stay there? You both agreed initially, like, yo, we're going to do this consistently, and now he's getting it. Should he stay there? So to me, what's very important about the marriage is that before you get into it, both of you guys need to agree upon everything. This is where I think the nuance in the evolution. Agree on everything so the woman's protected as well as the man is protected. And so to me, that's what me and my wife did. Before we got married, we talked about everything. Every single scenario, every single thing. Me, I'm not a money guy. I'm not motivated by money. So therefore, the money, like, I'm different. Everyone knows me. I'm not a money guy. So you can have all the money. I have my brain. I can start from ground zero. I'll build the money back up. I don't mind money. But to me, because it's another argument that we can talk about later, is that the kids is a whole different conversation. Kids are more wealth than money. So I was more obsessed with children than money because end of the day, like I said, we can talk about that later. But so to me, in regards to losing money, I don't care about losing money. Take whatever you want. If worst case scenario things happen. But by having a marriage agreement, both of you guys understand what's expected of you. And if one person obviously breaks this agreement, both families know. So if she wants a certain amount of kids and I say I don't want it anymore, then her family knows, though, yo, Hafeez, you promised my daughter this, you didn't give it to her, so it makes sense that this marriage is no.
So is this? We all understand what a prenup is, all right? Like it's signed, lawyer, date, bing, 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 bing. What is a marriage contract?
So
is it a verbal agreement? Is it a written agreement?
It can be.
You're saying that the families know each other?
Yeah,
what is that exactly?
It can be one of 3 things, right? It can be written between you and this individual, which is the least ideal. The second ideal is you can actually get a mediator or a legal arbiter to actually sign this for you. So therefore, like in the worst case scenario, if you go to court, this is now a legal document, right? So this is a legal document that can be able to be proved in court. But, I know a lot of the red pill guys don't like the idea of marriage being controlled by the state. And if you look at a lot of traditional Eastern societies, marriage is really agreement between families. So to me, I think it's really about the families agreeing to this and the families being aware of expectations on both sides. So therefore, there's family accountability, because what's problem in the West is there's no accountability. Like you say, if the wife...
Dude, we agree mostly on all of these things. You understand what's going on here. When you're talking about these marriages and business contracts and family, this is where we agree. Yeah. And unfortunately, we get into the romance and the feelings part of it, which feelings do change, right? 100%. Your feelings changed about me about a minute ago. People change, and thus,
life changes, right?
Thus, though, the marriage contract doesn't change with the state. So you have to have those things understood and be in the proper position.
Okay, so let me just paint a picture here. So I was married very briefly, okay?
Divorced?
Divorced. But I had a prenup. Yeah, but
right.
the entire, without throwing myself under the bus here, she needed to expedite the marriage, you know what I'm saying, in order to.
Yeah, I got it.
So I said, I got you, baby. I love you, but you have to sign and date here, and these are the expectations I've had if I do this for you. And it wasn't like a marriage built to last. It was a, I'm here for a good time, not a long time type of situation. You could read between the lines here if you know what I'm saying, okay?
Got it.
But we're still cool. Shout out to you, Lauren, if you're watching. All good. But better believe that I had a prenup in that situation. So that's when I was in my early 30s. Now I'm in my early 40s. Life's even better. Yeah. Money's good, career's good, still in shape, still what you would call sexual market value peak, all right? Shout out to Rolo, who basically did a whole calculation. I'm in the 0.13% of men. I'm like, okay, my ego's pretty big already. Boom, now I just got an inflated ego. Thanks, Rolo. Boom. So life's good. But I had a conversation with a girl recently who's what I would say a very high value woman. Let's put it that way, okay? And we're saying, all right, if we ended up ever together, I would want a prenup. No. I'm not down for a prenup, was what she says. I said, well, I'm glad we're having this conversation right now before this thing gets off the ground a little bit. She's like, no. And she made some very valid points as to why she wouldn't want to sign a prenup. And I'm like, well, granted, I hear you and emotional and all that kind of, like I love what you said about East and West. And I said, yeah, I'm going to need the prenup, baby girl. Like, sorry,
Smart.
like no matter whatever happens. So I'm trying to understand like the prenup, the marriage contract. At the end of the day, you'd be a fool as a successful guy to not establish some type of boundaries, some type of protection to say, hey, look, I hear you. You want to have this Fantasyland, Cinderella, Snow White vibe go down, right? Yeah. Beauty and the Beast thing. But like, first marriage is almost 50% don't work. Yeah. Second marriage is, I think it's 60-something percent.
63%.
Third marriage is 75%.
Absolutely.
So like the more and more you get married, you realize, all right, this whole thing. So I'm understanding the balance between the emotional component because you're going to have, hey, I love you. I want to be with you forever or else we wouldn't get married.
Yeah.
But just flip a coin whether this bad boy is going to work out or not. At the same time, I hear what Hafeez is saying is like, everything can't be so robotic and so structured that you can't have any feelings and emotion. Yeah. So I'm trying to kind of grapple this.
Can I add something to this?
Go.
See, this is the thing that experience offers that sometimes experience doesn't. So he talked about experience and, being open-minded to experiences, but a guy who has significant investment experiences has bumped their head as well. Yep. They wouldn't be called bitter. They would be called experience, right? But in this situation, what people don't know what's behind that curtain when you go into court and the love is lost. And also the agreements aren't being upheld with the marriage contract are piranhas, sharks. They typically come in the form of lawyers, judges, and people in that industry who make a lot of money. With that being said, once you go in that room, I'm one of the only people that have been in those rooms. It's a dark place. We call it the belly of the beast. And until you've been there, you really haven't experienced a marriage. Now, let me just say this. You mentioned the divorce. Hold on for a second. Hold on for a second.
Courtroom? You haven't been to a marriage?
Yeah. Let me explain why. Let me explain why. You mentioned the 50%, 63%, 70%. But do you know that these don't include the people who have already talked to divorce attorneys? See, many of those 50%, there's an additional percentage of people who haven't even talked to a lawyer, or I'm sorry, that have talked to a lawyer. And they've gone, okay, I'll stay, baby. It's cheaper to keep her. Happy wife, happy life. Yeah. I'll just accept what it is. I'll stay for the kids. I don't want to lose the house. So it's more than 50%.
And you're saying tack on a couple extra percentage points.
We need to tack on at least 25 extra percent because there are some people who have visited it, and many people reconciled. So it's bigger than that. And when I add on those percentages, it adds some perspective. Yeah. Oh, shit, there is more than 50%. These are 50% who legally got divorced. We're adding on the people who said, oh, shit, I'll just go on and stay.
What we call thinking about it.
Yeah, man, I'll think about it. Or the person brought it up. If you don't do this, I'm divorcing.
So if you like that clip, click right here to watch another. Or if you want to watch the entire Saucecast, click right here.